Hey, what's up guys? I'm back again with another custom water-cooled build, this time in the Corsair 400C. This is a case that I have sort of a love-hate relationship with, and I did an upload earlier this year where I kind of went over the case itself and some of the things I don't like about it, some of the areas where I think Corsair kind of came up short, but I don't really want to get into that today. I more or less want to focus on this particular build and the water cooling that I was able to cram into this thing. And needless to say, having done a build in here previously and being familiar with some of the areas where this case sort of falls short, I was able to work around that stuff this time around. And it did take some work and some planning, but I made it work, and definitely happy with the end result. And like I said in the original video, this case looks amazing, so if you're able to kind of get around some of the stuff that makes it a little bit annoying, you'll definitely be pleased with the way that the way things look. But just kind of dive into it. I'm not going to nitpick every single component that's in here as far as the main components. I'll just say that it is a Intel i7 4790K. As the processor, it's rocking a GTX 980. I've got 0 hard drives in this build. It's 2 480 gig Crucial SSDs and a RAID 0 configuration, so very fast. 16 gigs of RAM. It's on a Gigabyte gaming motherboard. I've got the best TP-Link Wi-Fi card in here, although I'm not using it at the moment, but works really well. And then of course obviously all of the water cooling components that I'm going to go into here, and just kind of talk about how I made this stuff work and why I did things the way that I did. But I went with a yellow theme, sort of inspired by my son. His favorite color is yellow, and I just kind of have always liked the look. It's different, so being sort of a showpiece, I wanted to go with something that was really going to pop and catch people's eyes. So this is what I ended up with, kind of a black, gray, and yellow theme. Now, first thing I want to show off before I open up the door is the way I configured the lighting in here. I've got 3 different lighting zones. I'm using the Dark Side Connect white LED strips. It's a rigid PCB. They're dimmable. I get those from Performance PCs. They might be available from other places. I don't really know, but that's who I always get them from. But they're pretty amazing because there's a lot of different options for splitters and extensions and just different ways that you can connect everything together and wire it. I actually ordered a go around here and see. I ordered this. It's meant to be a 3-pin fan controller. It's got the 4 knobs back here. I'm obviously only using 3 because I have 3 zones. But so I use that as a way to be able to control the 3 different zones to really get the lighting just right in the case. All of the LED strips I've hidden behind some custom cut and custom length pieces of acrylic. That way you don't get that harsh reflection off the window that you often see with LED lighting in the cases. And yeah, I would say overall I'm really pleased with the way the lighting has turned out. I can kind of demonstrate, I can reach here behind the case and sort of, adjust the lighting. Same with down here. There's this zone, and then I got a 3rd zone over on the left. So one of the things you may have noticed when you try to do lighting in your case, if you just do a standard LED strip that's sort of plugged directly into the power supply with a Molex connection or whatever, you're essentially limited to a lot of light or no light. And it tends to be quite harsh and really doesn't allow you to kind of show off the components that you want to. So by kind of creating these 3 different lighting zones and putting them on dimmer, knobs to be able to really tune the lighting exactly how I want it, it allows me to sort of get the lighting just right in here. And I think that is probably one of the best features of this entire build, that I'm happy with the way it turned out. So One of the things that stands out right away, people tend to notice, and I have pretty much done this in every build. I'm a big fan of a horizontally mounted reservoir. I like being able to see the water flow through there, so I purposely don't fill it up all the way, especially when you're doing a opaque fluid. This has got the Mayhem's pastel in here. You don't really see the water flowing through the tubes, and really the tubes just kind of look like they're yellow. So having some sort of water movement just shows off the fact that there's water moving around in here. I do actually also have the Aurora booster in here, the silver, and if I get up close you can probably see it with enough light. Let's see. Yeah, you can barely see it flowing around in there. It obviously doesn't show well in yellow, and I had a feeling that it wouldn't, but I wanted to try it anyway. So that obviously shows better in a darker color like red or purple or blue or whatever. But anyway, it's a Bits Power 150 millimeter reservoir going into the performance PCs, what they call the Uber 655, which is essentially just a SwiftTech D5 pump with a Bits Power sort of custom modded top. It's a black acetal, and then it's got the black sparkle covering on the pump itself to match all the fittings that are in here. These are all Bits Power black sparkle, compression for rigid tubing, obviously. From the pump, we're going into the front radiator. I've got my drain tube here, so that's going to allow me. I've actually used it once already, but makes flushing the system or changing out the fluid so much easier than God knows what other method someone might try to use. But anyway, going up into the block, EK on both the CPU and the graphics card, black acetal with the copper nickel plated. So CPU to graphics card back up to top radiator. Both radiators are 30 millimeter thick, 240 millimeter alpha cooled Nexos with, I'm using the Fractal Venturi fans for no other reason other than I like the way they look. They seem to perform well, but let's be honest, any of these higher end static pressor fans are probably going to perform just fine. So I think a lot of people just kind of pick that based on aesthetics. But anyway, then we come around here and then we go back into the reservoir. I obviously took a lot of time to plan this loop out and make sure that my tubing was routed in a way that looks interesting. I really like using the depth of the case to create these neat angles, and that way no matter what angle you're looking at this from, it's going to look interesting. I think if you're not taking the time to really plan out and route your tubing in a creative way, you're kind of missing an opportunity to kind of create a work of art here. So if it's sitting on your desk, and let's face it, the only reason we're really water cooling is to show it off, just take the time to make it look nice. To finish everything off, I've got custom sleeving that I did myself, the black, dark gray, and then the yellow. Pretty happy with how that turned out. Everything else pretty straightforward. I obviously had to build a panel here to be able to mount the reservoir where I did. I mounted the pump directly to the shroud here that covers up the drive bays underneath. This way I could hide some of the components behind here and then also, set it off. You don't see the PCIe mounted Wi-Fi card behind here. I've also got the PWM fan hub that's behind there as well. So there's very limited space underneath the shroud here for both your your power supply, your drives, and then cabling. So that was one of the ways I was able to combat that. I'm using a EVGA 550GS, which is a slightly shorter power supply. and that saved me a little bit of space under here as well. But aside from that, you know, pretty straightforward as far as the numbers go. And it looks like I'm sleep mode here. I've got the processor overclocked at 4.6. I did have it at 4.7, but I wasn't really happy with my temperatures. They were okay. They weren't bad, but I just dialed it back a bit. I've been running a stress test here in IDA64 really the entire time this video's been going, even before that. But at 100% usage on all 4 cores, I'm at 60C, which is amazing for this overclock. So you really see the benefit of water cooling. If I run a GPU stress test at the same time, that's really going to end up bumping up the temp probably closer to 70 once you add in the heat from the graphics card. The graphics card tends to hang out right around 50C as it's being stressed, but realistically, whether it's gaming or doing any sort of other productivity, you're not, that's obviously a synthetic load meant just to put as much stress on these components as possible. But these are temperatures that I'm getting with the fans in here set to the quiet profile. So the goal here is to have the, you know, quiet operation but high performance. So that is a benefit from all the money that you spend on water cooling. Realistically, it's still probably not worth the money, but at the end of the day, if you're just trying to take your build to the next level and you feel like you've already done everything else there is to do, then water cooling is definitely the way to go. And when it's done right, it's something to be proud of. But other than that, if you guys have any other questions, any feedback, please feel free to either leave them in the comments, contact me directly, tell me you like this, tell me it sucks, whatever you feel like you need to do, troll me, I don't really care. I'm happy with the way it turned out, and you know, just wanted to kind of show you guys what is possible, not only just in this case, but in general, with a little bit of planning and creativity. This is not even a very big case, and I have a full loop in here, 2 radiators, and had plenty of room for a lot of interesting bends, and really filled the case out quite nicely. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this here. Again, please feel free to leave any comments, suggestions, feedback, whatever. Like the video if you like it. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.